Do you know the top 3 reasons why students fail on the IELTS reading module? Let me share with you what research tells us. The 3 reasons include weakness in essential reading skills, limited vocabulary, and insufficient practice with IELTS-style reading materials and questions. Now you might be thinking, I'm not here to dwell on why students fail. I want to know about how I can improve my score. Well, I'm right there with you, but here's the thing. Understanding why you're struggling is the first step towards your improvement. And if you're thinking of skipping ahead or clicking away, hold on. That could be another reason why you're failing. I'm talking about distractions and lack of attention here. So stick around until the end of the video as we explore strategies to overcome these challenges and elevate your reading score. In this video, I will be sharing with you 5 most valuable tips supported by the research studies on how we can enhance our reading score. And yes, if we haven't met yet, my name is Simar and I am your go-to English language teacher for IELTS exam preparation. With my fancy Cambridge CELTA certification and a solid band 9 across all 4 modules under my belt, you can trust that you are in good hands. Oh, did I mention that I have been trained by both British Council and IDP? With over a decade of experience, I specialize in turning your dreams of scoring a band 7 or above into reality. So buckle up and let's get started. Without further ado, here's the tip number 1. Active reading. Research studies like the one done by the Harvard University in 2017 have found that active reading is super helpful. Instead of just reading through the text, try to engage with it more. Let me show you what I mean with an example. Take a look at this small piece of reading passage from Cambridge 16. It's packed with insights about the disruptive effects of technology on the labor market. But how do we actively read it? So here are the steps to read actively. Number 1. Review the passage. Before diving in, skim through the paragraph to get a sense of its topic and structure. Note the key terms like automation, embodied AI, disembodied AI. This will help you gain understanding of what the passage is about. Once you got the understanding around what the paragraph is about, the second part is analyze the question. Look at what the question says. What's the main focus of this paragraph? So, is it about the kinds of jobs affected by AI, the extent of AI's impact on the work, the future job market, or different types of AI? So once you've gone through the question, the next part is actively reading. So dive into the passage with purpose. Pay attention to percentages, distinctions between types of AI, and projections about the future workforce. Active reading isn't about consuming words, it's about actively grappling the concepts and making meaningful connections to deepen understanding. Let's dig into the answer to our question. Remember, we're looking on the main focus here, and after analyzing the paragraph, the answer is clear. The paragraph discusses the projected changes in the global workforce due to the technological advancements, particularly in artificial intelligence. It mentions that a percentage of workers will need to switch to different occupations and all workers will need to adapt to evolving job roles alongside increasing capable machines. Let's go through the options. So we've got A as the kinds of jobs affected by the growth of AI, B, the extent to which AI will alter the nature of work, C, the proportion of the world's labor force with jobs in AI, and the D, the difference between ways that embodied and disembodied AI will impact workers. So based on what we have just discussed, which options aligned with the main focus of the paragraph? So I'm sure you guys would have judged it by now. The correct answer is option B. So the paragraph primarily discusses how AI will alter the nature of work. It addresses the need for workers to adapt to evolving job roles alongside advancements in technology. So next time you tackle an IELTS reading passage, remember to engage actively with the text. It's the key to unlocking those highs. Not just read with a purpose. Get the sense of the paragraph, what it is about, read the question, and then actively engage in finding the answer to that question.
Moving on to tip number 2, expand your vocabulary.
Let's talk about why learning new words is so important. A study in the Journal of Educational Psychology found that having a lot of words in the vocabulary can make understanding what you're reading much easier. I know learning vocabulary is not easy, and I will share with you some simple methods to expand your vocabulary. And these are the methods that actually I use when I'm learning new words. So the number 1 method for building a vocabulary bank is to maintain a vocabulary journal. Now you might be wondering, what is that? Well, a vocabulary journal is where you can write down new words, their meanings, and some example sentences. It's like keeping a personal diary, your very own dictionary of words. To make learning new words more interesting, jot down where you encountered the word, who used it, and when. This will enhance your learning experience and make it much more enjoyable. Here's an example of how you can write it. Let's say you've just attended my writing class where I have used the word elaborate and it's a new word for you and you've learned that what's the meaning of elaborate. So you can write something like, today I learned the word elaborate, which means to explain in detail. Simba used this word while teaching the writing module. He said, elaborate your ideas with examples. Interesting, isn't it? So, another way of building vocabulary could be contextual learning, which is also my favorite. It's learning new words in context. Here's how you can do it. Choose authentic reading passages from past IELTS exams or other academic resources, ensuring that the passage contains variety of new words. As you read the passage, identify unfamiliar words or expressions and underline and highlight them. Find their meanings and see how they are used in the sentence, as well as how they contribute to the overall understanding of the passage. Now practice using the new words in sentence of your own. And remember, don't forget to add these words into your vocabulary journal. There are other ways to build vocabulary, but like I said, these are the two most popular methods, and I have personally found these two methods to be the most effective methods. So I would encourage you to use these two methods. So obviously, keeping a vocabulary journal, and the next one is learning to use the words in context. Moving on to tip number 3, master skimming and scanning. Skimming and scanning are obviously two techniques that can save your time in exam. Again, a study from the University of Cambridge in 2016 talked about this. Let's see what skimming and scanning are first of all. Skimming involves quickly reading through a passage to grasp its main ideas, key themes, and important points without reading every single word. It helps readers identify the main topic's key details efficiently. So how skimming will be helpful in your reading module? So for true-false not given questions, skimming is super helpful. You can quickly skim through the passage to locate the information that matches the statement provided in the questions. Then based on your understanding of the passage as a whole, you determine whether the statement is true, false, or not given. So you don't want to waste your time reading and understanding the entire passage. Instead, you aim to quickly find the relevant information within the passage and just go there and find the answer to your true, false, not given. The next one is scanning. Scanning is a technique used to find specific information in the passage quickly. Instead of reading the entire text, readers focus on searching for keywords, numbers, and figures. A common example of an IELTS reading question type that requires scanning is the matching heading question. In this type of question, candidates are presented with a list of headings or titles, usually in the form of short phrases or sentences, and they must match each heading to the paragraph or section of the passage that best represents its main idea or topic. So, to do this effectively, the candidates need to scan the passage quickly to locate the relevant information that corresponds to each heading. They don't need to read the entire passage in detail, but rather focus on finding keywords or phrases that match the headings provided. This requires efficient scanning skills to locate specific information within the passage quickly. Practice skimming and scanning. Honestly speaking, it can be tricky initially. However, once you're used to it, you will love it, as it will make your IELTS reading much easier. Moving on to tip number 4, develop critical thinking skills. Now, thinking critically is really important for doing well on the IELTS reading part. A study from Stanford University in 2018 found that people who can think critically do better on IELTS reading tests. An example of an IELTS reading question that requires critical thinking is the matching information question type. Now, in this specific type of question, candidates are presented with a list of statements or pieces of information, and they must match each statement to the appropriate section or paragraph of the passage where information is found. However, the statements may not be presented in the same order as they appear in the passage, requiring candidates to carefully analyze and interpret the information to make correct matches. So this task involves not only locating specific details within the passage, but also understanding the context and meaning of the information to ensure accurate matches. Therefore, it requires critical thinking to assess the relevance of each statement and make logical connections with the corresponding sections of the passage. Now, let's talk about how you can develop this skill. Don't worry, it's not complicated as it sounds. It's all about being an active reader. That means asking questions and picking out the main ideas as we read. Also, learn to think about why the author wrote that in the text. What were they trying to say? Compare different parts of the text and make some smart guesses. Plus, practice. With practice, these skills can get even better. So, I'm sure practicing will make you superstar at thinking critically. Which brings us to our tip number 5, which is practice, practice, practice. Practicing a lot is the key to doing well. Again, research from British Council in 2019 showed that practice can really boost your reading score. All the skills that we have explored so far are actually linked to practice. The more you practice these skills, the better you will get at them. Also, familiarize yourself with different question types and the skills that are required to solve these questions, such as skimming and scamming. And there you have it, 5 tips to help you do better in the reading part of your IELTS test. In summary, the 5 essential skills for improving your IELTS reading score are active reading, critical thinking, vocabulary expansion, skimming, and scanning. So by practicing these skills regularly, you will become more confident and proficient in tackling any reading task that comes your way. Remember, Rome wasn't built in a day, and mastering these skills takes time and dedication. But with consistent practice and positive attitude, I'm sure you will be well on your way to achieving your desired band score on the IELTS reading test. So keep practicing, stay motivated, and believe in yourself. You've got this. Success is within your reach. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends who are also preparing for the IELTS exam. Keep up the great work, guys, and happy studying. I'll see you in another video on Crack IELTS with Sima. Thank you so much.